In this video, I'm re-recording the full presentation that I gave at the Amazon Ads Educator Summit in Milan earlier this month, where I broke down how to optimize your product listings for Amazon's COSMO and Rufus. And if you want to understand how Amazon's new AI-driven discovery systems actually rank your products now, this is the most up-to-date, simple, practical walkthrough I can give you today. Let's dive in. Smart listings, optimizing for AI and humans. Imagine if you could make your listing so smart that even Amazon's AI works for you, not just your ad budget. And yes, this is sponsored by Amazon Ads. My name is Andrei Sadlak. I've been a seller since 2017. I sold my first Amazon MBA brand in 2020. I also co-founded Productinion, the A/B testing platform for Amazon sellers. Scaled 7- and 8-figure brands, including working with an aggregator. And now I'm building Azoma, which is AI visibility platform for e-commerce. I'd like to break this down into 3 buckets. Let's start with the Amazon Listings 3.0 and basically learn how AI visibility works. Then we'll dive into practical SOP, some examples and checklists, and we'll open it up to Q&As. So Amazon 3.0, are we in the future yet? If we look back at history, we could break it down into 3 phases of Amazon's evolution. So Listings 1.0 would be 2010 to 2016. Which is purely keyword game, keyword stuffing, and review and rank hacks, right? Some of you who've been selling since then would probably confirm. Now, the second era of Amazon listing optimization is 2017 to 2023. That's pretty much when I started. I started selling in 2017. And anyone who's been selling in that period would probably confirm that it's all about content and brand. The better the content and the reviews, the better your click-through rate and conversion rate. And that's how you win in that algorithm. Right? The current era of Amazon listings is 2024 onwards, and I would call it AI visibility. It's about COSMO understanding and Rufus answering questions that lead to higher conversion, right? So if we look at this a little more critically, just like with money, we mostly use electronic money these days, but cash still exists and you can still use it. Same idea here. Even though COSMO and Rufus is the new wave, the content on the listing still matters. A lot of people are still searching and buying the old way. So these two have to exist in harmony as of today, okay? And I would put equal importance on both. Now, let me ask you this. How many of you use ChatGPT? Raise your hand, even if you're sitting at home. I want your participation. That's how you learn best. All right. Probably a lot of you in the audience, a lot of people raise their hands. How many of you actually use ChatGPT to decide what products to buy? Based on the stats, it's actually crazy numbers. Now, how many of you shop on Amazon? Probably a lot of you, right? Now, how many of you use Rufus to decide what products to buy? Okay, some of you do by now, but it is quite a new thing still. This is basically what we call Agentic Shopping. You don't search, but AI searches, compares, filters, and eventually decides for you, okay? So here's an example. For this presentation, I was looking for a clicker, right? So I asked ChatGPT what's the best one. This was the first result. Then I went to Rufus. I asked the same thing. What is the best sleek design remote control for presentations? This was the first result. And that's the one I actually got, right? Now, ChatGPT is about helpfulness. It helps you research, get professional advice. Rufus is a little bit more towards conversion because Rufus is on Amazon, which has high purchase intent. Now, ChatGPT, just for your understanding of adoption, over 700 million people per week find products to buy through ChatGPT, and it's working very tediously on integrations with major e-commerce platforms. Now, Rufus, as of the latest data from Andy Jassy, the CEO of Amazon, 250 million people used in 2025, and over 140% monthly account users growth year over year. Just pretty insane. So if you compare ChatGPT to mobile phones, it took 10 years for mobile phones to get to 1 billion users. ChatGPT, currently it's on track to reach 1 billion users in 3 years, okay? So Rufus versus Alexa. I know a couple of years ago, everyone was still thinking Alexa is the future, this is the thing. Now Alexa in 5 years reached 100 million devices. Rufus, under 1 year, 250 million users. There's another confirmation that Agentic Shopping is here to stay, especially on Amazon. November 11th, at unBoxed, Amazon announced this free beta, which is sponsored products prompt and sponsored brands prompts. And if you scan this QR code, you'll see the actual official announcement. But basically what it means is these prompts are now showing up on the listings as sponsored to start the conversation with the customers and help convert. Now, what do we know as of now? We were actually fortunate enough to sit around the table with the global product marketing lead from Amazon who flew to Milan for this event to kind of use us as a focus group, brainstorm and share what's going on and get our opinions, get our insights, right? So this is what we know from that conversation. First, prompt ads in sponsored products and sponsored brands are currently on PDPs and in search results. They're auto-generated prompts and mainly based on seller inputs, but Amazon also cross-checks against its own verified 1P data to ensure accuracy. 3, free beta for now, but once it becomes paid, CPC will be charged only on the first click that opens the prompt, meaning if the conversation goes on and on and on, you don't pay anything extra, okay? 4, advertisers will see which prompts were shown, which were clicked, and which ones converted. And 5, this is a little bit of speculation, but sponsored product campaigns will most likely surface prompts on competitor PDPs as well. This is kind of the hint I got from that conversation, and that's my expectation as well. Now, some of you must have heard about Amazon COSMO by now, so let's dive into this. How many of you understand the difference between COSMO and Rufus? I know some are still confused. It is a little bit confusing, so let me kind of outline the difference. So COSMO, which is a Commonsense algorithm, and answer the question what every product is, okay? And Rufus, think of it more like a robot. It's a shopping assistant, and it helps you which product will you pick, okay? Now, let's just break it down more specifically for you as a seller, what exactly both of these do. So COSMO, think of it more like a brain, right? So it's about product meaning, it's about text and image attribute extraction, it's about use case mapping, and it's about common sense tagging, okay? Rufus, intent matching, review and Q&A synthesis, visual label tagging, very important, and answering and ranking. And together they work like partners. Together, it's about product and intent alignment. So COSMO, all about product. Rufus, mainly about shoppers and connecting the dots. And that's how the system works. Now, let's dive into the actual practical SOP, some examples and checklists, okay? So side note, I cook once per year, clearly not Italian. If I ask this, what is the best pasta for a romantic homemade dinner? And if I ask it in Rufus, these are the results. At least for me, it's personalized, okay? So these couple do not match up with the search results for dry pasta if you just search on Amazon. Okay, let's scroll down. I have more results on the left for Rufus. I have more results on the right in traditional search results. Not even the top rated or the best seller shows up in the Rufus recommended ones. Okay, we scroll down, still no match. The recommendations I'm getting on the left by Rufus are completely different, which tells us the algorithm works differently for agentic shopping. I think the biggest question for us future focused entrepreneurs is which part of the screen do you think is going to grow faster moving forward? Where do you see the trend happening more, right? I'm obviously in the camp of agentic shopping, but you decide for yourself. Now, layers of listing optimization. There are 3 major layers. This is the way I see it. A, we optimize for humans. This is the conversion layer. B, we optimize for COSMO, which is product understanding layer. And C, we optimize for Rufus, which is AI shopping or intent layer. Okay, let's dive deeper. So A, human conversion. We're going to make the listing actually sell. Okay, side story. This is my personal flop success story. I'll go through this quickly because it actually has important hero image lessons. Okay, so I learned this the hard way, and it does help you with Amazon ads for sure. As I was building my first brand, I made every possible mistake. I didn't take any courses. I was just learning by doing, right? And at some point, I had to sell my home. If you look it up on the internet, you'll see the whole story. But the thing is, I sold the house to save the business, to reorder the inventory. And because I was out of stock for 5 months, obviously had no history, you know how the algorithm works, I needed to crack it super effectively as soon as I was back in stock around the end of November. For giftable products like these ones, you have to make it happen in Q4 and specifically November, December. If you don't, you missed the biggest opportunity of the year, right? So what I had to figure out is how to actually leverage my main image. So hero image in simple terms is that Pareto principle is 20% of the efforts that will deliver 80% of the results for your e-commerce business. And in my case, these were the search results if you searched, so still the old school way, for scratch-off maps, okay? Like, how do you really stand out? What do you click on, right? So first advice, I recommend using something I call the squint test. So squint your eyes a little bit where everything becomes blurry and you notice what stands out. Because first you need to earn their attention, okay? So back then when I had this challenge, when I just got back in stock after fixing my inventory issue, I realized that I can stand out by not being like everybody else. And everyone pretty much was flat, rectangular map looking at you, like very straightforward. So I just tweaked mine to be on an angle, right? So think of that opportunity. If everyone's the same, you want to be different, look through the search results in your space, see how you can stand out, while ideally highlighting the advantage of your products, okay? So you need to break the pattern. That's lesson number one. You need to stand out, break that pattern, be that unique, something that attracts the attention in the first place, okay? Now let's play a quick game. Look at these results. This is my first product and think which one converted better, A or B, okay? Okay, take a note, which one do you think won? Now, a lot of people were asking the audience, hey, what's the difference? Yeah, exactly. This is the tiny difference. So once we broke that pattern, I also realized that I'm much more expensive for a reason. I'm actually extra large and nobody else really was. Maybe a couple were, but didn't really talk about it. And this is a big deal. Like if you're buying a poster, you have no idea what the size is based on the image. So I needed to highlight it this way. And obviously A won for that reason on Manage Your Experiments on Amazon. And I tested so many things and I do recommend you the same. On the right, you can see all of the tests I completed in this specific product case, okay? I'm sure you can find even more in your space because you know it best and you know what other people try. You gotta test it, you never know, okay? So what's the number one reason people buy your product? Don't say it, show it. That's the major motto of this little story. So lesson number two, show why I as a customer should care, and you gotta show it in 3 seconds. It has to be so easy that anyone can get it, realistically in 1 second. Now, human optimization checklist, if I summarize it quickly, hero image, it's about attention. This is what we just talked about. 2, title has to be human readable. We'll dive into it more. 3, you gotta test price and offer, which includes strike-through pricing, coupons, subscribe and save. 4, gallery images, it's about confidence. It's make sure you don't mess it up. Once people go through it, you just instill that extra layer of confidence and trust. Bullets, focus on benefits or features. And A+ content, it's about storytelling, comparisons, Q&As, and make sure it's mobile optimized. We just finished Black Friday 2025 and over 50 something percent, I think it was like 54% of people actually shopped on mobile, generally speaking. Obviously there are exceptions in different niches, but you gotta optimize for mobile at this point. And the main idea is always be testing. Let's dive into layer B. We're gonna optimize for COSMO, for product understanding. And this is how we make Amazon correctly understand what your product is. So Amazon COSMO, obviously not in Italian, not the best artwork in here, but the official COSMO paper, which is amazing. Like Amazon shared the official COSMO paper, it's public, you can find it. Explains it this way. So it's common sense knowledge from shopper behavior, right? An example they shared is if a pregnant woman shops for shoes and ends up buying slip-resistant shoe, Amazon's algorithm, COSMO, learns that behavior that pregnant requires slip-resistant, okay? Amazing example, but to expand on this, the official COSMO paper listed this 15 relation types, 12 major ones and 3 extra ones, and that's how COSMO mines that common sense relations information. And the example they gave us in these 15 are these ones on the right. Okay, so go through this, and if you want, you can even just Google white paper COSMO Amazon and you'll find it. Now, 3 things COSMO cares about the most, okay, to simplify it even more. 1 is the use cases. What is it, right? What is the product? 2, the audience. Who is it for? What is it used for, right? What audience this product is designed for, right? Who is this used by? 3, capabilities and functional attributes. So obviously can depend on the product, but basically what does it help with? What are the functions? What is it capable of? So on and so forth. You gotta enrich your attributes and copy with answers to all of these major questions. You have to have clear product type, you have to have explicit use cases explained in the listing, common sense phrases, functional capabilities, compatibility with different devices, accessories, locations and events where the products are used, and the outcome benefits. Here's the whole list if you want to scan this QR code. This is just a very simple spreadsheet that kind of lists all of these things, and you can go through your own listings and figure out what's missing and fill it up in your listings appropriately, okay? Now, let's dive into the last layer of optimization, which is Rufus, shopper intent matching. So we're gonna make Rufus recommend your product when people ask questions. There are three things it cares about the most. Number one, relevance to the exact question, okay? So clear benefits, noun phrases, very important, and real use cases. Number two, evidence and proof. So it's going to look through reviews, it's going to look through customer Q&As, it's going to look for contradictions in bullets and reviews. And if there are contradictions, big issue, you got to fix it. But number three, visual clarity. It has to be OCR-readable. OCR stands for optical character recognition, meaning it's easy to recognize the text on the images showing the use cases. And if it is a device or electronics product, consistent compatibility visuals as well, okay? Because people ask a lot about this. Now, even more granular, make sure category and node assignments are 100% correct. If you just move it around different categories, as a lot of sellers do, can mess it up completely. So make sure you are in the right category. Don't worry about being the number one bestseller. It's not as critical anymore, in my opinion. So make sure it's in the right browse node. Now, benefits before features, very important. Use cases in the title and in the bullets. Q&A style phrases in the bullets. AI will search through your listing to find answers to the questions. So provide that, right? Add Q&As with the top questions that Rufus shows, which you can easily go through your listing, your competitor listings, and see what are the recommendations for the questions to ask Rufus. Frequently asked questions modules in A+, very useful, and fix any contradictions in terms of major details in title, bullets, A+, Q&As, okay? Now, again, OCR-friendly text must be easy to read on mobile as well. If human can easily read it, then AI will read it as well. So images and A+, critical. For A+, there's another layer, which is all text, the 100 character limit description of every image. Make sure you fill it up as well. And Rufus will learn from that to understand better what is on the images. And definitely show use cases in the images, okay? So high consideration categories will benefit the most from this optimization because people use Rufus the most in the spaces where they would want to speak to a human expert. So it would include categories like consumer electronics, appliances, baby products, health and personal care, sports, outdoors, automotive parts and tools, home improvement and smart home, functional food and beverage. You get it, right? If you are in these categories, this is your number one priority now to optimize for COSMO and Rufus. Even if you're not, still a priority. Another lesson, an image is worth 1,000 words. This image especially, right? Again, the same example, the clicker I bought for the presentation, answers so many questions and is even used by Rufus at times when people ask about this. Here's multimodal understanding. So this is again an example of how Rufus works. It recognizes the text, the objects, the person, the use cases, and the context to match shopper intent and generate accurate answers. It would recognize the text, it would recognize the face, even the emotion, and put the percentage of confidence that it gets from this image. Very important to optimize your visuals for this. How you can test how well your images perform. The simplest way is you go to catalog, you add a product, even if you don't need to add a new product, maybe it exists already, still can do this, upload an image, and then click generate content. Okay, what happens is it will generate the item name, which is the title, based on the image. So in my case, it recognized the image as portable power bank, even though it was the clicker, right? So maybe I can add a product packaging somewhere on the side or behind it and kind of put the name of the product, some of the major important information right there. There are definitely ways to optimize this to make it even more clean and clear, even though this listing is quite well optimized for Rufus and COSMO. So bonus strategy, earn Rufus recommendations through media. We know, if we ask, that Rufus is sourcing information from outside of Amazon as well. In this case, I just asked what is the best sleek design remote control for presentations with sources. This is what I got. So I got the results, pretty much the same results. And then there's this section sources at the bottom, right? If I click on it, I'll see the actual PR articles, so media articles reviewing these products. Okay, these are the ones that Amazon trusts. This is high authority in the eyes of Amazon. And even more, I scrolled through results, I had a little bit of conversation and realized that Amazon is even recommending products that are not sold on Amazon and allows you to shop direct. It's quite interesting, right? These must be fulfilled by Amazon or something. There's some kind of agreement, I'm assuming, but this is just a confirmation that Amazon is not only using information on Amazon itself. So you can really impact your ranking on Rufus by optimizing your PR strategy. Now, how do you boost external signals? You want to get mentioned in media and comparison lists. So stuff like best presentation clickers 2025. You want to be the most recent article, right? And you want to collaborate with credible review sites like TechRadar, Wired, Forbes Reddit, as credible as possible. You want to ensure your site has a product page with specs. So create detailed product pages on your website and publish how to use or best for blogs. So basically answering all of the questions that COSMO is looking for, and Rufus will be tapping in on your own website where you have full control. Now, optimization for Rufus is, in my opinion, optimization for humans because it's written in a more human way. It's basically more organic to the way we communicate with other humans. So in my opinion, it comes hand in hand. And if you optimize for COSMO and Rufus, you automatically optimize for actual human beings. This is when I open it up to questions and answers. And I hope you found this presentation insightful. This is current state of affairs with COSMO and Rufus optimization. And I'm learning every day about this, and I'm going to share more on my LinkedIn. So feel free to follow me on LinkedIn. And if you want to get the slides, send me a DM. Here's a QR code to reach me. Thank you.